Welcome to another Harry's Hobbies video, and this is in regards to the Graham's Motorcycle Emporium rework diorama that I'm working on. And what I'm going to show today is one of the motorcycles that I've been building. This one with a sidecar. This is the sidecar. And why I'm doing this so early is this is going to be a window display that'll be backlit, and there'll be on the back side, I'll have to put this inside. It will support the little motorcycle in the window, and this will be backlit so that you can see it from the outside after the diorama is built. So what I do is I always start with flat black. You shake it up, make sure it's shook real good. And I start by using the leftover paint in the lid. And basically we paint the entire thing in the flat black. And this provides a base color. To bring out some of the details to make it a little bit easier to see. Turn it over, get the other side. I know there's a lot of people do this a little different way, but this is my personal preference in how to accomplish this. Now the last thing I'll add before this goes into the display, as you can see, it has no handlebars on it up front here. And before it actually gets sealed up inside the building itself, that's when I'll add the handlebars, because I found that they're incredibly easy to knock off, and frankly it's a pain to add glue and add glue and add glue, and it starts to look bad after a while. We've got that one covered up. I left some of the, you'll see some white in here, but that's not going to be an issue because that'll change to a different color anyway, like the fenders and the gas tank. And of course the tires are black anyway. Keep on going. And the seat and the tire on the sidecar assembly. You want to make sure you get the inside black. And frankly, in the 40s and 50s, there wasn't much of a color choice when it came to the seats and the tires, like they have these days. Okay, so we've covered it in black. And the next thing we do, well, first you clean your brush out. I've had this bottle of thinner for years now, and I refill. I don't go by, this is actually an old Tester's, originally a Tester's paint thinner bottle. and I've had it for years, and I refill it with, instead of going out and paying whatever it is now, $6-7, I refill it with this to use as a paint thinner. I don't repeatedly spend the money on something that's available cheap. Next up, what I do is I use silver, and we'll use a dry brush technique on this. And I'll use my little paint palette piece of cardboard. And where I put other paint, usually it's the water base, and rub off and get the brush kind of dry. And then we go in and simply dry brush to highlight some of the spots. And it doesn't matter at this point that the paint's still a little wet. And dry brush across. And this highlights the engine parts and the frame parts and other areas that you kind of want to have them stand out just a little bit. You notice I'm not doing anything on the other tire, because the only thing left on there is part of the fender. And that'll be the same color as the motorcycle itself. And we have that highlighted out. The next step in the process would be to pick a main color for the fuel tank, fenders, sidecar. And again, we clean our brush out real good. And I'm going to switch brushes. Go to one with a little bit of a finer tip, and then you pick a nice base color for the motorcycle itself. And for this one, since it's going to be on a display, I'm going to go with a sky blue. Because this will stand out in the lights, the LEDs that'll be added over it. Yeah, it's not mixing too well. And we'll get it mixed up here. There we go, that's a little bit better. You don't need much paint. And I'll start with the sidecar wheel. And just add your paint to it. You set it off to dry. Sidecar. And after it's assembled, I'm sure I'll have to do a little bit of touch-ups. Which is not a problem. And it's pretty easy to do the touch-ups after it's put together. Makes the handling easier. Now, when I get done with this, I'll have to add the actual assembly video, because I'm not going to be able to assemble this in this video until after the paint dries. And I like to give the paint at least 2 hours of curing time before I go through the assembly process. And you may have to touch up the tires and things like that, because you may get a little bit of paint on those. And here's the actual motorcycle itself, right up to the front forks. And again, right up to the front forks. And, oh, there it is. It just got a little bit on the tire, which I'll touch up after everything dries. Fuel tank, right up to the seat, down to the frame. And right up to the seat and down to the frame. And then the back fender. You can see the little shock absorber. These are not highly detailed models, because they're supposed to be seen from a little bit of a distance. And another touch up here. There's a little spot of a fender right inside there. That set up. And again, clean your brush. And you'll see me constantly with this in particular. I do not leave it open, like you see right there. I always put the lid back on, because I've knocked it over far too many times and had too many accidents. So now what I do is just wait for this to dry, and then I'll assemble it in another video and do the final touch-ups, and it'll be ready to go in the diorama for display. It's now a few hours later, and as you can see, I have completed the motorcycle and the sidecar. It's ready to go in its display window, which the display window is right here. And I painted it the Harley orange color for the background in the window display. And the window display will be featured right in this part of the window. And that will actually go onto this piece about like so. And to do that, we want to make sure that when this motorcycle is placed on display, that it's not going to shift or move around. So I have chosen to kind of place it at a slight angle up towards the back wall. And to do this, I actually used hot glue instead of super glue because it just seems like that this holds better. And just put a little dab in there, and then we put the motorcycle into place. And we'll let that cool, which doesn't take very long. And then we're going to add it to the window display itself using the Gorilla Glue this time. And we do a light coat of the Gorilla Glue gel around the edges. And I use a toothpick to spread that out just a little more, since I don't want it to glob onto the glass display. We just need a thin coat. This stuff's really strong. And then we take this and line it up towards the bottom of the display window. And that sets into place. And I hold it in place for a few seconds. And then we're ready to continue on. And I know that's a little hard to see. So what I'll do is at the end of this video, you'll see a few pictures that are added in a slideshow format to make it a little easier to see what I've done. And here's the back side. And again, I know that's a little hard to see, so that's the reason for the slideshow that'll be shortly following this as soon as I'm done. And that's basically the window display. So, and I hope you enjoyed watching this.